Okay, finishing this up, part 3 of section 2.2. So I had the third circle, x minus 5 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 16, which is 4 squared. So I just need to check, just like we've done them with the others, check the point 1, 2. So I get 1 minus 5 squared plus 2 minus 2 squared equals 16. 1 minus 5 is 4, 4 squared is 16. 2 minus 2 is 0, does 16 equal 16? Yes. So 1, 2 is on each of those circles. So 1, 2, in this case, is the epicenter of this earthquake. So again, what this just brings home is that you can look at these three circles by looking at their center and their radius, easily come up with the equation. So that center of 1, 4, that goes into this equation. That radius was 2. That goes into this equation to be a 4. Then you look at the center of negative 3, negative 1 with a radius of 5. Those two things come into play in this circle right here. Negative 3, negative 1, and 5 squared is 25. And likewise, you see the last circle that is there. So this should take us to the end of this section. So I wanted to work a couple of problems for you in the homework. So if I'm looking at that, let's just do one more of the completing the squares. Or another example, let's just look at number 14. So before I get there, they give you a circle, okay? So they draw this circle out. I'm not going to draw the circle. You can look at this on page 185, or maybe I'll draw it, but I just won't draw it well. How about that? So they've got a circle, and they've got a circle that looks something like this, and they give you points negative 1, 1, and negative 1, negative 5 down here, and then a couple of other points over here, 2, negative 2, and negative 4, negative 2, okay? So my center has to lie somewhere there, okay? So if you look at it, my center, if I look at it on the horizontal, so from here to here, it has to be halfway between those 2 points, okay? So between negative 4 and 2, so what's halfway between there, okay? So if I add those up, that's negative 2, divide by 2, that's negative 1. So I can see that my center has to have an x-coordinate of negative 1 and a y-coordinate of negative 2. Okay, so when I look at this line that goes through the circle vertically, that tells me that negative 1, and then my center has to be at negative 2. Okay, so I look at the intersection of the line that's drawn right there. That has to be negative 1, negative 2. And then I just need to figure out if that's the center, what's the radius. Okay, you can look at it and tell. You know, you can look and say, okay, by looking at the points, or I could use my distance formula, either way to do that. So I've got the point negative 1, negative 2. I can find its distance from any of these other points using my distance formula if I can't really figure it out on the graph. So what is the distance from negative 1, negative 2 to any of these 4 points? Because those are all in the circle. So I'm just going to pick one of these points. 2, negative 2. If I can find the distance from negative 1 to negative 2 to 2, negative 2, then I have the radius. So my distance, remember, is the square root of, it's x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. So that's going to be, in this case, negative 1 minus 2 squared plus negative 2 minus negative 2 squared. So if you look at it, negative 1 minus 2, that's negative 3. You square that, you get 9. So that's the square root of 9. Here, negative 2 minus a negative 2, that's negative 2 plus 2, that's 0. So this is the square root of 9, which is 3. So that tells me this circle has a center here and a radius of 3. So to write the equation of that circle, that's just going to be x plus 1 squared plus y plus 2 squared equal, the radius is 3, so 9 squared. So that's number 14, the equation of the circle that you see that is drawn there for you. Let's see if I can look at another one that is completing the square. So along the same page, let's look at number 20. Or let me do, I'll do number 20. So number 20, same page, page 185. So on number 20, I have x squared plus y squared plus 8x minus 6y plus 16 equals 0. So I'm going to move that 16 to the other side, group my x's and y's. So x squared plus 8x, I'm going to leave some space here, plus y squared minus 6y equal negative 16. And now what I do, what is half of 8? That's 4. So I'm going to add 4 squared. Half of 6 is 3, so I'm going to add 3 squared. So I've got to add 4 squared and 3 squared over here. So now to factor this, I get x plus 4. So this is x plus 4 squared plus y minus 3, y minus 3 squared equal, this is negative 16 plus 16, that's 0, plus 3 squared, that's 9. So I can look at this and tell you this is a circle with a center of negative 4, 3, and a radius of 3. Okay? And that should be pretty much it for this section. You've got some homework to do. Let's just take a look at an example real quick and see. Let's look at, say, number 38. So number 38. They say find the equation of the circle that has endpoints 5, 4, and negative 3, negative 2. Okay? So this is a circle that has those endpoints. So that's going to be something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here, negative 3, negative 2, something like that. 5, 4, negative 3, negative 2. So my circle is something like that. So what I don't know is the center. I got to find the center. So the center is going to be the midpoint. So I need to know the midpoint of those 2 points. That will be my center. So the midpoint, remember our midpoint is x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. That's my midpoint. So the midpoint is going to be, what, 5 minus 3 over 2 and 4 minus 2 over 2. So that's going to be the point 1, 1. Okay? So that's going to be the center of my circle. So now I know the center. I just need to find the distance to one of the endpoints of the circle. So let's just find the distance. If I can find the distance from 1, 1 to 5, 4, that will be my radius. So that distance is going to be the square root of, we'll say 1 minus 5 squared plus 1 minus 4 squared, the square root of all of that. So that's going to be the square root of 16 plus 9, that's the square root of 25, which is 5. So now I know that this is a circle, x minus 1 squared plus y minus 1 squared equal 25. So that's a circle centered at 1, 1 with a radius of 5. Okay? That should be it for section 2.2, and you've got homework in that section.